everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here. We're gonna make keto pizza today. So I'm gonna show you all the ingredients it's gonna take to make our fathead dough. If you don't know what fathead dough is, don't worry, I'll show you. It's very simple and very tasty. And we are gonna show you all the ingredients to make your own marinara sauce for your pizza. So here are our ingredients to make our dough. It's very simple. 1.5 cups of mozzarella. You're gonna need 3/4 cup of almond flour, 2 tablespoons of cream cheese, parchment paper, and garlic salt, but it's over there with my marinara. So for your marinara sauce, I have everything set up right here for myself to make it. It's just gonna be some Hunt's pasta or tomato sauce, just like, oh dear, go ahead and focus, just like this. And the carb counts on it are gonna work out, I promise, because we're not gonna use this whole thing, and we are not, we're gonna spread it across the top of the entire pizza, so it'll be just fine. The seasonings I've picked out, you could really change up depending on what you want. I've got oregano, some black pepper, some parsley, some garlic, all kind of things like that that, you know, you can change up for however you want your pasta sauce or pizza sauce to taste. I'm going to use erythritol to sweeten it because I like my marinara sauce sweet, just like most people do. I also wanted to show you a regular store-bought marinara and why I don't use it for keto pizza. So if you look here at the carb count, 13 grams of carbs and 9 grams of those are sugar, just straight sugar. And it's made with sugar. So obviously marinara is normally sweet. So that's why I choose not to use this, but rather make my own. Hey everybody, oh God. Okay everybody, so you're above my head. I hope this works. We're gonna get started with our marinara sauce. This is the sauce that I'm gonna use like I showed you. I'm gonna go ahead and open that up. First things first, I'm going to pour this entire can right on in here because I won't be using the whole thing for the pizza, but I definitely will save it in a mason jar and use it again for other recipes or other, you know, things. You can put it on top of your zoodles. We're going to go ahead and crank this up on like a medium. I'm going to add some garlic. This is already minced up garlic. Now, I normally... and I probably should have, but I'm too focused on filming. I normally would put this in the pot and let it, you know, I guess what they call sweat. But I forgot, so that's all right. We're going to just do it this way. I'm going to put it right on into the sauce. I did not put very much, but I definitely put a, you know, probably 2 teaspoons worth. I just don't like to have a ton of garlic in there, but I do like the way it tastes. So next I'm going to go ahead and start adding in some seasonings. And like I told you, these are basil leaves. Like I told you, you can add seasonings that you prefer. These are parsley flakes. But these are just some of the ones that I know that my family likes. So here's some garlic powder. A little bit of onion powder. There's like a hard piece in my onion powder. A little bit of black pepper. A little bit of oregano. Keep opening it on the wrong side. Need to like put tape on those or something. I'm going to use a little bit of Mrs. Dash, the salt-free herb blend. And where's the salt? Ah, here it is. So a little bit of salt. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mix this up while it's still on that medium temperature. And I'm just going to let it do what it's going to do for a minute. Let all those delicious flavors come together and season that very bland tomato sauce. Now, I'm going to take, while it's heating, I'm going to take my erythritol, and I'm probably going to use about 2 tablespoons in this. Alright, I'm going to mix that erythritol right on in there. Now, erythritol is not like sugar, other than the fact that it is a sweetener. It does not like to melt into things, really, so you're going to want to mix it and then let it simmer. It's not going to melt with heat immediately. It's going to take a second. So I'm just going to mix it around. We are going to throw a lid on top of that and let it start to do what it's going to do. So the marinara sauce has started to boil a little bit, so I'm going to turn it down all the way to low and then put the lid back on it and let it simmer. I'm going to give it a stir though. Excuse me. You want to help me out with that? Awesome. I'm going to stir it just a little bit, get some of that heat out of there. And then I'm going to let it just sit here and simmer for a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make the crust for our dough. And so I've got myself a bowl here. I've measured out the 3/4 cup almond flour. I'll pour that right in. I'm going to pour in the 1½ cup of mozzarella cheese. I'm going to go ahead and add 2 tablespoons of cream cheese. Put them in there just like this. If it's cold, you want to cube it up. This is room temperature, so it's no big deal. I'm going to pop this in the microwave for about a minute, maybe 45 seconds, and then I'm going to start to see if it melts. It's starting to soften up a little bit, but it's still definitely not soft enough. So we're going to throw it back in there for 30-second intervals. Alright, let's see what it looks like. There we go. Now we're getting the consistency that we're going to want. And it is hot, so be careful, but eventually we're going to get in there with our hands. So during this part, I was mentioning that you need to crack your egg and add it into the mixture, but you want to do this quickly so you don't cook your egg and aerate it. So soon you'll start to use your hands and get in there and do it, but just do this part fast. As you can see, it's starting to, soak in that egg mixture, or the egg that we just put in there. But the trick is dampen your hands and just mix with your damp hands, because if you try to do that part after it starts to mix the egg in real good and some of the wetness is gone, if you try to mix this around with wet or dry hands, it will stick to your hands and never come off. I mean, you will be cooking with it. And it's a pain in the butt. All right, so now that it's at this consistency, we're gonna move it to our pan. So now that we've got our dough mixed all up right here in our little bowl, we're gonna spray over the top of our, whatever this is, pizza pan that has parchment paper on it. Plop that on, and again, wet your hands. Shake, shake, shake. Hands are wet, and I'm gonna start to smush. Just smush it down. It will rise a little bit because there's the almond flour in it, but it's still not going to rise a ton. I did this recipe the other day, and I used, oh dear, twice the ingredients. It made a very, very thick pizza dough, but this time I'm trying to do it a little bit lower. It's okay, hey. This time I'm trying to do it a little bit lower on the carbs, but we're going to smush this out. So now that I've gone ahead and flattened it out, I'm going to poke holes all in it, because if you don't, you must remember this is made of cheese and it will bubble up like cheese. So we are going to try to make sure that doesn't happen. When you're cooking it, just periodically check for bubbling and stab it if it is bubbling. Now, I've done the hole poking, and I'm going to take my, where's it at? I'm going to take my garlic powder, which you could use garlic salt, that would be fine, and just shake a little bit on top right there. That seemed like a lot, but we're going to go with it. So the pizza's in the oven, and we're going to go ahead and cook it for 8 minutes like it is. We're going to check in 8 minutes to check for bubbling. So I tried the pizza sauce, and it needs some more sweetener. So we're mixing some more sweetener into it. This is what it looks like after it has sat for, I don't know, probably 15 minutes or so. So we're gonna let it sit down here and cool down for a little bit on the back of the stove while our pizza cooks. So our timer's beeping, and that means it's time, oh dear, that means it's time to check on our pizza. And it's starting to brown up a little bit, but there are some bubbles. So we're gonna poke holes everywhere we see a bubble, and there we go, vent those bubbles. And it's looking pretty good. All right, so we're gonna throw it back in, and we are gonna cook it for an additional 12 minutes. This next step is just something that I'm deciding I want to do. So I've taken 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to go ahead and add some of the garlic to it, melt it up, and make garlic butter. We're going to take it and put it on top of the crust. Our pizza still has 8 minutes, and I think the people who came up with the cook time on this lied, because that looks pretty done to me. So we're going to pull it right on out. Looks like pizza crust to me. So all this burn looking stuff around this is garlic salt, so it's definitely not the pizza crust. The crust itself is not burned. It looks really tasty. So we're going to go ahead and throw our toppings on it, put it back in the oven, and yeah.
All the major pizza places run your background when you get a pizza. Oh, let's go. Let's go.
There is the pizza all cooked up and ready to eat. I did the math and it winds up being about 3 carbs if you cut them into eighths. So, and then of course you have to add your toppings, which, you know, brings it probably to somewhere around 5 per slice. So enjoy, but enjoy with caution. But I mean, this is a way that you can have pizza on keto, and that just seemed like it was so far away and just not a dream that would ever come true. But bon appetit. So there's the cross section of our pizza. This one is pretty thin, but as you can see, it does like turn into a slice of pizza. So here's my pizza. As you can see, the back of it there, it does look like a piece of pizza, and it tastes like pizza too. I just tried it. I don't like to eat on camera like that, but this is delicious. Seriously, it's really good. You should try this. Cheers. That is the end of this video. I hope you guys decide to make some pizza like this because it's really super tasty and it's low carb, and you never really thought that you'd be able to eat pizza on keto, but now you can. So anyways, everybody have a magical day and eat well.